Hi, my name's Cassandra Vanell. I'm 25 years old from Mississauga, Ontario. I'm currently at Western University in my third year pursuing a Bachelor of Music Education. But how did I get here? Let's find out. It all started when I was born at Mississauga General Hospital, which is now called Trelane Hospital. I have an older brother, Matthew, who's 2 years older than me, and my mom and dad, Natalie and Robbie. We got a dog named Sasha, a German Shepherd Lab, when I was 6, and we had her for 10 years before she passed away from cancer. My brother and I grew up with an English and Ukrainian background and went to St. Sophia Catholic School, which is a Ukrainian separate school. You can kind of think of it like French immersion, but for Ukrainians. I loved learning about where my family came from, but it didn't expose me to all of the different cultures and wonderful people we have in the world, but that would later change. I've loved to sing ever since I could remember. I started choir at the Mississauga Festival Youth Choir when I was 8 years old. Although I didn't know how to read music or know any technique, my conductor did an amazing job of teaching us the notes in a way everyone could understand. When I was 12, I switched schools to my local middle school, Hillside Senior Public School. My neighbor Joanna went there and played the flute in their band program. Wanting to learn more about music, I begged my parents to let me switch. It was in the middle of the year, but they finally caved. I had my mind set on playing the flute without any research on the other instruments, but if I could go back, I would have loved to play the saxophone. I definitely had some culture shock my first week, but I quickly learned to love my peers and learn about all the different backgrounds they came from. In the same year, I also started playing hockey. This was probably one of the highlights of my childhood and teenage years. Once I started, I was hooked. From the adrenaline of the competition to the change room banter after games, the rink became my home away from home, and I loved every minute of it. I played with the Mississauga Chiefs at house league level and played on the select team for 2 years as well. Then came high school. I went to Iona Catholic Secondary School and was accepted into their voice program. We had so many opportunities like going to live plays and musicals, performing in concerts twice a year, and even traveling to New York City in my final year. I played on the varsity girls softball team for 2 years, and I was also on the varsity girls hockey team for 3 years, where we won the Roxa Championships twice. We played in a tournament in Toronto where I filled in for goalie in the championship game. We won, and I got to keep the trophy for the winning puck. And the winning puck. When I finally graduated, I took a couple of years off to work and gain some life experience. When I felt ready to start my post-secondary education, I knew I wanted to study music. I started private voice lessons, which I took from Allison Moody. Having the lessons helped prepare me for university, which led me to being accepted to Western's music program. I lived in Delaware Hall my first year, which was great, and now I'm on my second year living off campus. And I have my cat Oscar with me. Now that I'm in third year, things have been great, but there are also aspects which have been not so great either. I've had obstacles and emotional hardships to overcome in these past years at Western, which made it extremely difficult for me to cope and be on track with my degree. My mental health took a turn for the worse when my dad tried to commit suicide when I was in first year. If that's not enough, I lived off campus in second year with random, terrible roommates, and I felt extremely isolated from my friends and peers. And now this year in September, my mom got really sick and ended up on life support, and she almost died in the hospital. I couldn't even visit her due to the pandemic restrictions. Then she contracted COVID-19. She has since made an almost full recovery, but it is painful for me not being able to see her or take care of her. She took care of me my whole life, and it was hard dealing with the fact that there was nothing I could do to help her. Even though I've dealt with some brutal stuff, I'm still here. I also want to say to anyone that there is not one way or one path to go through university or even through life. If you fail a class, it's not the end of the world, and I'm proof to that. If you're ever struggling, I want you to know there are resources and people there to help you. So, despite and because of everything, I'm really excited to see where my journey takes me. Thanks for watching.